Hey, we're back with another university segment of Reimagine 2020. I'm Roshan Mirajkar, the University Program Assistant Director at Massachusetts University, and we're here with Anurag, the Consulting Director of the King's College London Blockchain Society. Anurag, why don't we start by telling everyone your background and how you got into blockchain?
Hi, I'm going into my final year of political economy at King's, and my background is both in economic policy and international relations. And how I got into blockchain first was looking into how these two fields are being modernized. So, in terms of economic policy, we see central banks using CBDCs, and with international relations, we have things like e voting and the promotion of e governance generally. And so, once I got into those two, fintech, law tech, all of those just came naturally.
Yeah, that's great. And really interested to know more about the structure of KCL blockchain and how you all manage different projects.
So KCL Blockchain is a student-led society at King's College London, and we focus mainly on exploring the overlap between technology, law, and enterprise. So the structure of the society is generally quite flexible and interdisciplinary. So we have members from a variety of different subjects, ranging from law to computer science to biomed even. And the society has three streams. So generally, we label projects as label, business, or tech, but the streams don't really form like an official divide in the society. We have members working on different streams all the time, and the streams often work collaboratively on different projects. And yeah, that's basically KCL blockchain.
Yeah, that's really interesting to hear how you all are unique in the way that you divide your organization. So how are blockchain initiatives in general at King's College, and what is the state of things? Any thoughts on that?
Hi, I'm the president of technology at King's College London Blockchain Society, and in our tech stream and in general in the society, one of the things we value the most is teaching blockchain concepts to our newest members, and that is why we worked with some very important blockchains, for example, Zilliqa, to host workshops, for example. We had before in the November period 4 weeks of workshops with Zilliqa, teaching how to create a business revolving around blockchain. From the technical side, coding smart contracts, learning their platform, all the way up to the business side. Another thing we are very involved in is technical competitions. We co-hosted one of the largest blockchain competitions together with Stake Zero. It's called Future of Blockchain, and it has a global reach. There are universities from all over the world participating, blockchains from all over the world sponsoring the competition. This year, the competition was held in London, at Cambridge, and even in Berlin. And basically, some numbers about the competition. There are 160 teams participated this year, 600 participants, and we have been working for 3 months on many in-house products to participate. So the idea for this competition is that you build basically a startup, or you build a project and take it as far as you can during these three months. And what we did inside our society, we built 3 products basically. The first one involved payments, and that was about that was on Zilliqa. We also built a crowdfunding platform, again on Zilliqa, and both of these won first and second prize. But I think the one we're the most proud of is actually our in-house startup, QVote. And a trend, a very important thing, something we really like in our society, we're very interested in, is e-voting, as Anurag mentioned earlier. In fact, QVote is born on the idea of bringing quadratic voting to corporate boards, basically. That is how our what our business is about, and we actually use it in our own society to hold our own internal elections. It's actually live right now. We have our website. Everything is it's fully working. It's an actual business inside of our society. Check it out even if you want. qvote.uk. And in terms of voting, something else we're involved in, also with a consulting group, is Electis. So Electis is this project that was born in Europe and now it's global, and we are one of the participating universities. The idea is to create this decentralized network supporting a voting protocol that is completely open source and usable by anyone. We've been involved in some of the smart contract programming and involved in the consulting aspects. And Anurag, if you want to talk about what we did with consulting.
Now that we've covered sort of the tech aspects to what KCL blockchain is doing, how are the initiatives on the business and legal side in the UK and the projects that you're working on?
Yeah, so we started off in the society mainly focused on typical fintech, smart contracts, and just the basic stuff. But throughout the last year, we've definitely tried diversifying a bit. And so, for example, we've built up a pretty big roster per se in the luxury goods and fine art sector. So, for example, we're working with a firm called Artery in New York, who we're helping. They maintain a fine art ledger for auction houses and museums. And right now they have about $300 million worth of art, but problematically in the UK and Europe more generally, the legislation there has been very volatile. So when it comes to anti-money laundering, know your consumer law, stuff like that, we help facilitate a lot of the legal research, as well as, okay, now that we've done this research, how do we enter the market? Because it is so different from the US and other traditionally big spaces. And then beyond fine art, we're also working with firms like Ariani and The Fabricant who do anything from making digital garments and haute couture to just having a digital passport per se for luxury goods. And then beyond that, we're also looking internationally what we can do. So another firm we've partnered with is Emerge in Latin America. And we're helping them right now do anything from literally redesigning a national football stadium, which there's blockchain in there. It's less salient than other projects, but we're also helping them, for example, work with the Ministry of Health in Honduras in using blockchain to have a low-tech solution to help crowd manage for social distancing. And at this point, it literally is just looking around the world, seeing where we can help out with diversity. And Guy's going to talk a little bit more about Asia.
Thanks, Anurag. So in terms of our work in Asia, we've partnered up with a large integrated enterprise called Tuss Parks UK. They're originally part of a larger affiliation with the Tsinghua University based out of China, and they are part of China's largest innovation network with nearly 300 innovation spaces around the world. And when we began our partnership with them, it started off with basic consultation and helping them on their incubator front. But recently we've started plans to co-organize events with Tuss Parks UK to try and host networking events, as well as potentially further events like hackathons and competitions, hopefully when the market's appetite for such events sort of recuperates. But besides our work with Tuss Parks UK, we've also been working with innovative fintech firms based out of the UK. One of the notable ones is HQLAX, who is a fintech firm who provides improved collateral mobility across the securities ecosystem. And that just basically means that they're using the blockchain to essentially track ownership of baskets of securities across the market And beyond that, one of the bigger partners that we do have is R3, which basically hosts the largest blockchain ecosystem on their Corda platform. And we are partnered up with them as their venture development program member, or as a member of their venture development program. And essentially what that really means is that we provide our services to them in the form of consultation and advisory work, mainly helping with their marketing strategy, as well as their business development strategy, and also just providing more basic and traditional forms of research and analysis into sort of the markets that they're already working within and existing in, but also looking at possible horizontal and vertical expansion models.
Yeah, in sum, what you could say, what we're really trying to do with all this business work with blockchain in Europe is twofold. So one, we try partnering specifically with startups rather than established firms to try to grow innovation in Europe. But second, we've been trying to act as a bridge almost between Europe and other countries. So like I explained, like earlier, Latin America, a guy talks about Asia. And for example, Eduardo talked about that e-voting platform Electus. Electus is like a perfect example. It was started up by a ex-finance minister in France. And then we said, okay, cool, we can share this project with you. And a lot of it was just, okay, we got 10, 15 universities in Europe. How do we take this internationally? So a lot of what we've been doing is just taking what we can offer in Europe and taking that to everywhere else. So now we have partners on Electus from the US to Japan. And yeah.
So on the legal side of things, there's kind of two parts to it. The first part is there's sort of a legal split under consulting work. And a lot of the companies that we consult for example, Six Links in Asia and Archery, like Anurag just mentioned, they want to expand internationally. And one of the biggest things that's holding them back is regulation. So for example, if you look at the EU, one of the newest directives is 5AMLD, which amongst many other things, it considered art intermediaries and cryptocurrencies as obliged entities, which means that now these companies have to face the same obligations as financial institutions. So they have to do things like AML, customer due diligence, etc. And so generally we provide consulting work for companies that are looking to expand into different markets, and we provide a lot of research into the kind of legal regulatory sector for them. And the other side of the legal stream generally looks at partnering with law firms in the UK, and we host a lot of events. So for example, we've partnered up in the last year with Allen and Overy and Clifford Chance.
Yeah, those are some really interesting initiatives that you have going on in your region. So thank you all for sharing your thoughts and what's happening specifically in your region. And going forward, how is everyone at the KCL Blockchain Society reimagining blockchain in 2020?
So in terms of what the society is planning to do in 2020, we're planning to get more involved internationally and diversify into different industries. So like Anurag mentioned just now, we've started working with companies that work with art, for example, Archery. We've also been working with Open Music Initiative, which is based in the US. We've also been working with Emerge, which is based in Latin America, and Six Links in Asia. And so we're trying to really expand into more regions and sectors. And in terms of what we see generally happening in 2020 or for the future of blockchain, like I mentioned just now, there's been increased regulation on like the whole blockchain cryptocurrency space. So it's kind of expected that there will be more regulations in this area, and so compliance costs will rise for blockchain companies. But at the same time, blockchain is one of the solutions that companies can provide for compliance and for e-governance. So it's also an opportunity. So because of that, we kind of anticipate that the use of blockchain will be integrated into more and more areas within like our everyday life, especially given the coronavirus situation. And so, yeah, I think generally we expect blockchain to expand and expect there to be more use cases in the coming year. And we also expect that it is going to combine and kind of mix with a lot of other emerging techs such as AI, which we're also working with a company called Obism, who won AI Innovation of the Year last year. And I think Eduardo will talk a little bit more about the tech side.
Well, I definitely agree. One of the things that we like the most about blockchain is in our technical stream is exactly the fact that it's a technology that can be used with so many other technologies. And yeah, you mentioned AI. That's one of the, let's say that's the dream. I mean, it would be amazing, and I think more and more companies are trying to find ways to use blockchain to control and to train and to create better algorithms, better AI fundamentally. A very interesting paper, some very interesting research that has been done lately is in the field of federated learning, for example. And there are, while the original algorithm is not about blockchain, it can be integrated with blockchain to create more powerful versions of it. Basically, it is a way to train huge AI models with lots of data contributed from very small devices. So instead of having hordes of data on a huge computer somewhere in a server, you can actually contribute to the creation of this model with everyday computers. People can actually contribute towards it and you know, help with the training of the models. The way to coordinate all of this, there is lots of space in blockchain in how to coordinate all of this and how to reward people who do right contributions and everything. And that's a very important area of research that we think is really is going to be very important in the coming years. A much more basic thing, I think, is that, and this is kind of the obvious one, blockchain right now is still fairly complicated. It got a lot better. Applications are easier to use, but it's still a pain. And so on the technical side, the focus, and we saw this even in our last hackathon, the focus for many companies is finding ways to make this, to bring this to the people, to make this usable, to make it fast, responsive, to have people be able to use it as normal software, use blockchain powered applications as normal applications, everyday applications. And that's the biggest, I think, that's the most important part of getting blockchain to actually be useful in the real world to the people. It's kind of the obvious one at the same time.
Thank you all for checking in from KCL Blockchain Society and giving your thoughts on what's happening in the UK, as well as the future developments in blockchain. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're tuned in to Reimagine 2020. Stay tuned to learn more about the state of the art in blockchain education and technological development all around the world. Reimagine 2020.